All right, so y'all know I can't stray too far away from my conspiracy theory roots, right? Y'all know what it is. I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart, through and through. So we're gonna talk about some Antarctica stuff right here, right? And in particular, the no-fly zones and different things like that. This video here is a former pilot flew into Antarctica's no-fly zone and exposes what he saw. And this is not just any regular pilot. This is supposed to be, quote unquote, a Navy pilot. Yeah. Let's get to it.
In a chilling and extraordinary interview conducted by investigative journalist Linda Moulton Howe, a former Navy officer, referred to only as Brian S., shared a first-hand account of high strangeness during his deployment to Antarctica in the mid-1980s. The revelations, which spanned from 1984 to 1987, involved a series of strange sightings and experiences that, if true, challenged the very foundation of what the public has been told about the frozen continent.
We know it's all been lies. Lies after lies after lies after lies after lies. We know it's all been lies. And that's what keeps me so laser focused in on Antarctica, because I know it's something being hidden there. I just feel it in my gut.
Brian served as part of a C-130 crew and claims that during his years stationed in Antarctica, he and his fellow crew members repeatedly encountered silver, disc-shaped craft darting through the icy skies with speed and agility beyond any known human technology. Brian described how these sightings were not isolated incidents. Multiple times, members of the flight crew witnessed the unidentified aerial objects maneuvering above the stark white terrain with purpose and control. On one occasion, during a routine supply drop mission, the C-130 crew was redirected due to inclement weather. They were forced to fly along an alternate path, one that led them near a range of mountains known to the crew as a no-fly zone. As they circled back to safety, Brian claims he saw something impossible, a massive entrance embedded in the side of a rocky outcrop, partially obscured by snow and shadow. What made the scene even more surreal was the presence of human activity. Vehicles and figures moved in and out of the dark opening, but they did not appear to be entirely human. Brian could not say exactly what he saw, only that it was enough to convince him that the base was a shared facility, part human, part something else.
See, now that lends itself to the theory of we've been saying that they know. And not only do they know, they've made contact. They've made contact. They're able to identify, for those of us who have heard of the different species, they're able to identify possibly which species is which one is the good ones, which one are the bad ones. How long has this group been here? How long has this group been here? Where this one is from, where that one is from. This confirms that theory of they know. And when I say they, the government, somebody.
That the base was a shared facility, part human, part something else. When the crew returned to their station, they were immediately debriefed. Brian recalled how superior officers informed them sternly that you did not see what you think you saw. The crew was told in no uncertain terms to forget the experience. The warning carried an unmistakable tone of threat, and the crew, understanding the implications, complied. The event was never to be mentioned.
See, that's why you got all these people now who are scared to come out. You got only a select few whistleblowers coming out and speak. But if you ever wondered why, it's because of those threats like that. A lot of them are being threatened, whether it be their careers, whether it be their well-being, their families. There's threats being made. And that's why you don't have as many whistleblowers as you do right now.
Crew, understanding the implications, complied. The event was never to be mentioned again. Despite this, the memory continued to haunt Brian and many of the others. The secrecy, the intimidation, and the realization that their government might be hiding contact or collaboration with non-human entities all lingered in their minds. Adding to the mystery was the strange case of 15 scientists who vanished from their base without explanation. For 2 full weeks, they were unaccounted for, their communications with the outside world inexplicably cut. When they finally reappeared, they were visibly changed, silent, shaken, and distant. According to Brian, their gear was immediately quarantined by military personnel, and no explanations were ever given. Any inquiry into where they had gone or what had happened was met with stonewalling. Speculation ran rampant among the station's personnel. The most persistent rumor was that the scientists had been taken or led into a subterranean structure, perhaps the very same one Brian and his crew had accidentally seen, and had witnessed something that left them deeply disturbed.
For a second, you have maps, and if I recall, when we talked, it was the captain asked the crew or the navigator, "What is this no-fly zone? If we can go through that no-fly zone, we're going to be able to save time on this medevac issue." And that was the discussion about why was there a no-fly zone.
Right.
The fact that there is a no-fly zone, or there's an alleged no-fly zone in Antarctica, says a lot without saying a lot. That's all you need to tell me, bro. I'll take it from there. I know what was if that's there in that place, y'all are definitely hiding something. Come on, man.
That was the discussion about why was there a no-fly zone.
Right. That discussion was happening after we took off. So we got airborne, and everybody knew there was an air sampling station that way because we were briefed every time prior to our deployment that this was the no-fly zone because it was labeled as a air sampling station and that we weren't to fly over it. So as a crew, we decided as a crew that we would take that direct route to Davis instead of deviating 20 miles around that air sampling, which is approximately what they required us to do if we were to have to go in that direction. And so we decided to fly right over it. So we took off out of Pole. Now remember, the altitude at South Pole is somewhere between 11,000 and 12,000 feet. So we were climbing at full fuel load out of South Pole, and we were going to be climbing to about 25,000 feet for our first altitude. And then as we burned off fuel, we would become lighter and we were able to climb higher, which also allows us to get better fuel efficiency out of our engines and extend our range a little bit. So we were taking off and we were climbing, and about 5 to 10 miles out, somebody decided to look out the window instead of looking at their instruments and the radar the navigator does. And somebody said, "Hey, there's this big dark spot out here." And so we ended up flying not directly over it, but somewhat offset so that we could look out the left side of the aircraft. And it was down at about a 45-degree angle. And there was this large opening in the ice where this air sampling station was supposed to be. So we kept on going and made our flight.
Just a second, Brian, because
Okay.
I remember asking you in our interview, how big do you estimate it was, and did it look like it was somewhat structured?
Well, I estimated that you could have at least flown one of our aircraft into it. So the wingspan of our aircraft is somewhere around 138 feet wide. So it would have had to have been large enough to accommodate that wingspan, but it was probably more of the size of a football field,
Right.
if you can imagine that. Okay, so now remember, we're up climbing. We're already at 12,000 feet. So by the time we were at that many miles, we were up somewhere around 21,000 feet. So looking down, at that area, was even at that altitude, the size of that opening looked large.
And you, as I recall, you could see that it had like something at the beginning of a ramp or something that was going down in it that seemed to be flatter, not like some accident, like it was.
Right. Right. The way we were passing by that area, the way where the sun was off to the left. And so when it was shining down, the opening was kind of more or less, I don't know how to put this, in an angle, so that it would be, if you were to try and fly into it, you would have to come back and go back west into it. So the sun would shine on the top of it, and it would cast a shadow, and then you could see more of an upward grade coming up onto the plateau there. So it looked like it was descending down in, so like a ramp.
Right. And there was another very important discussion that I remember, that the pilots asked the crew, why would there be a no-fly zone?
Yeah. They're lying to us, bro. They're lying to us. And they're going to continue, because they know we can't just up and just, hey, we're going to go verify. This isn't like a haunted house, a house that you heard about. And now you have all these, what do they call them? These people that go out and investigate haunted houses and different things like that, right? We're not just going to up and say, okay, we're going to go investigate Antarctica. They know that. They know that. So it doesn't matter how much we stand and complain and gripe and say, point fingers and say, hey, they're doing this. They know that area is just not readily accessible to the average human being that could just go, you know what? I'm gonna go make this go viral. I'm gonna go there. They know that. Some kind of way, man, we got to figure out a way to, I don't know, get some real people who are not compromised to go there. And not just one, we need a crew of people to go there. You know? But they won't allow it. They'll come up with some kind of way to stop them from going. If that doesn't make y'all nervous, or say, what do they know? Or say they're lying to us, then I don't know what will. It's obvious. It's clear as day.
Why would there be a no-fly zone?
The Antarctica, described in Brian's testimony, is not the desolate and barren land familiar to most. Instead, it is a place veiled in secrecy and silence, where ancient mysteries are guarded not only by the extreme elements, but by multinational cooperation bent on keeping the truth hidden. Brian hinted at something even more sinister, a long-standing pact among world governments to suppress knowledge of extraterrestrial presence in Antarctica. He said he believed...
Now that part I don't know if I believe. Agreements among governments, that would leak. That would come out at the first opportunity or discord that they have between each other. That would come out. Somebody would have leaked that information. So I just don't see that. Could it be? It's possible. I just don't buy it. We're in a day and age where everything leaks right now. So it baffles me why this hasn't leaked, this information, no videos. And that tells me, what that tells me is it's a small group of people that have clearance to go there. Just like Area 51 or something like that. There's only a small group of people, and it ain't no cameras or no type of electronics or anything allowed. Like, they're able to control it, in my opinion.
World governments to suppress knowledge of extraterrestrial presence in Antarctica. He said he believed all nations with a presence on the continent were aware of what was beneath the ice, and they had agreed in secret to never disclose it. According to Brian, this agreement extended far beyond standard non-disclosure and involved threats, surveillance, and psychological manipulation to ensure silence. What makes Brian's testimony particularly compelling is that it is not isolated. Over the years, other whistleblowers, scientists, engineers, pilots, and even contractors have come forward with similar accounts of strange phenomena in Antarctica. Reports of unexplainable structures buried beneath the ice, ancient pyramids protruding from the snow, and strange electromagnetic anomalies have surfaced repeatedly. Many claim that the area is home to not only advanced technologies, but also remnants of civilizations lost to time, or visitors from beyond this world. These testimonies, though often dismissed by mainstream media and academia, have painted a consistent picture of a continent holding some of the deepest secrets of our planet. Linda.
See, we would almost have to some kind of way, in order for us to get the truth, maybe get it on some type of image or something, we would almost have to put our own satellite into space and have it beam down on Antarctica and give us like all the footage that we would need. It would have to come from a satellite image that we somehow, some way, we're able to send out in space and get our own images. They're not gonna let us in. Not hardly. And they want to keep whatever this is a secret.
Linda Moulton Howe's meticulous investigation into Brian's account sheds light on the extraordinary lengths that have allegedly been taken to conceal the truth. The interview, though conducted decades after the events, reflects a memory that remains vivid and unwavering. Brian, though older and no longer bound by military contracts, remained cautious in his words. He had seen what he was not meant to see, and even after all these years, he carried the weight of that forbidden knowledge. His greatest concern, he admitted, was not for his own safety, but for the truth to come out, for the public to understand that Antarctica is far more than just a frozen wasteland. It may be the stage for something that reaches far beyond human comprehension. The implications of Brian's testimony are staggering. If true, it would suggest that the human race has been in contact, whether directly or indirectly, with an extraterrestrial intelligence operating in one of the most remote regions on Earth. It would mean that global powers are not only aware of this contact, but are actively working to keep it secret. It would also raise the question, what lies beneath Antarctica's icy veil that is so important, so dangerous, or so world-changing, that governments have chosen silence over disclosure? As the world continues to confront growing evidence of unidentified aerial phenomena, and as more whistleblowers find the courage to speak, Antarctica remains a focal point for speculation. Brian's story is just one thread in a larger, tangled web of secrecy, ancient knowledge, and unacknowledged truths. Whether it will ever be fully unraveled remains to be seen, but for now, his account stands as a haunting reminder that some places on Earth are still deeply unknown, and perhaps purposefully kept that way. In the age of digital exploration, few tools have revolutionized public access to geographic data more than Google Earth. What was once the exclusive domain of cartographers, military strategists, and satellite agencies is now at the fingertips of anyone with a computer. This powerful platform allows users to scan the most remote, untouched parts of our planet, including vast deserts, towering mountain ranges, and the most mysterious of all, Antarctica. Among the most compelling conversations sparked by this technology are those concerning mysterious anomalies observed across the frozen expanse of Earth's southernmost continent, anomalies that defy conventional understanding and have ignited widespread speculation about ancient civilizations, extraterrestrial visitors, and government secrecy. Antarctica, with its frigid, isolated terrain and layers of ice hiding millions of years of geological history, has always captured the human imagination. But with the ability to scan satellite imagery over the continent in high definition, users have begun to identify unusual patterns and features that do not seem to align with what nature alone would create.
I'm starting to not even trust the satellite images, because I feel like they've touched them, so we don't know how authentic these images are. You know what I mean? So I find myself sometimes hearing that, oh man, look at this image of, and then I'm hyped, but then in the back of my mind, a part of me is like, all right, don't be overly hyped and overly zealous about it, because this could be what they want you to see. They could be giving you what they want you to see. You get what I'm saying? So is this authentic, or is this something thrown out to kind of throw the scent off the trail?
Among the most talked about discoveries are what appear to be monolithic structures and geometric outcroppings, some standing in neat formations, others partially buried beneath ice and snow. These structures, identified through coordinates on Google Earth, seem to exhibit unnatural symmetry and shapes suggestive of artificial construction. Even more provocative, however, are the reports of what many believe to be unidentified flying objects spotted via Google Earth's satellite surveillance. Internet researchers have pointed to a number of images showing disc-shaped formations nestled in remote valleys or jutting from beneath sheets of ice. These formations, sometimes referred to as crashed saucers, are characterized by their curved edges, perfect symmetry, and placement in otherwise featureless ice fields, features not typically found in natural rock formations. Some users claim to have identified circular indentations that appear to match the size and shape of classical flying saucers, as well as long drag marks in the snow, as if a large object had skidded across the surface before coming to rest. In some of the most widely circulated images, these alleged saucers are situated near large crevices, which some believe to be entrances into underground cave systems or artificial bases. One particularly famous image, which has now been removed from Google Earth, reportedly showed a disc-shaped object half submerged in a glacier with a sharp metallic sheen reflecting the sunlight. Another case involved a set of strange, shadow-casting structures placed at equal intervals, appearing from above like a convoy of alien machines frozen in place. Some argue these are natural formations or errors in image stitching, but believers point to the consistency and precision of the shapes as evidence of a deeper mystery. Adding further intrigue are reports of areas that were once visible through Google Earth but have since been blurred, altered, or removed entirely. In some cases, users who had bookmarked specific coordinates returned days or weeks later to find the area obscured. These instances, while potentially attributable to routine image updates or data corrections, are often cited by researchers as evidence of a cover-up, one possibly coordinated by global powers under the Antarctic Treaty, which restricts military activity and economic development on the continent. According to some theorists, the treaty is a convenient way to mask collaboration between governments in hiding the true nature of what lies beneath the ice. There are also claims that what satellite images show on the surface of Antarctica are only hints of what's hidden deeper below. Google Earth cannot penetrate miles of glacial ice, and what might be embedded within these layers remains speculative.
Is Google Earth compromised as well? These are the questions you have to ask, yo. It's been around long enough for it to be compromised now. For us to not solely rely on it for our information or proof or anything that we need. At this point, you have to have another source besides Google Earth. I don't just fully trust it like that. No.
However, some enthusiasts argue that strange heat signatures and radar echoes detected in past scientific surveys, particularly those from ice-penetrating radar used by geological expeditions, reveal hidden caverns, tunnels, and even entire city-like structures buried deep beneath the ice. Theories about ancient civilizations in Antarctica are not new, but Google Earth has revitalized them with fresh imagery and curious formations. Some believe these structures could be remnants of a pre-Ice Age civilization, possibly Atlantis, or an even older lost culture. The idea that these ancient remnants might be connected to extraterrestrial visitations only intensifies the mystery. In many cases, UFO sightings and anomalies seem to coincide with areas where pyramid-like structures, monoliths, or strange grid patterns have been found.